there and welcome to the Freebooters Network. My name is Dale Kingsmill and I'm here to shed some light on 40k lore for all my fellow 40k newbies and amuse those in the know with my utter confusion. As with most things, this story begins with creation. The creation of the universe. A massive explosion, a big bang, some might even call it, caused countless stars to spin into existence out of the unbridled energy that was released. Along with the birth of these bright, shining, shimmering new suns came the birth of something else. The star gods came into being within what are basically the neural pathways of the universe, as far as I can tell. They were like big ol' energy vampires, lashing themselves onto suns, wrapping up all around them and sucking out their solar juices like... So, you know, I guess like vampires, but with the opposite of an aversion to daylight, because I'd get like hella awkward. One day, a very, very long time from now, these star gods would become some real mean bastards, but for now, they're just little baby all-powerful beings, and there's no one else around, so it's all good. Eventually, the astral parasites learned how to walk, or, you know, glide on space wings, same diff. They skipped the teenage years and went straight to the leaving home part. They went ahead and drifted about from place to place, devouring new suns every time they sucked all the solar energy of their last galaxy kitchen dry. As they went about their business, they paid exactly zero attention to the not nearly as tasty planets that were beginning to take form all across the universe around them. And since the stars had their baddies in the form of the vampiric star gods, the planets decided to go ahead and have some too. And so the long, slow climb of evolution began for the very first time. The first big success of this process in our very own Milky Way galaxy were the Old Ones. The Old Ones seem to have been super advanced lizardy people, and they were the first planetary civilization to develop a technology that allowed interstellar travel. Their science was so freaking good, it was like Arthur C. Clarke style, science so beyond you that it looks like magic. And also, it made a lot of use of like psychic powers, so there's that. Alright, so let's take a quick sidebar, a detour for something that's important. In the beginning, there was the Materium, and there was the Immaterium. Or maybe not exactly. Supposedly, alongside the blooming of sentience in the galaxy, and possibly as a direct reaction to it, an alternate dimension came into existence of pure psychic energy which reflects all the physical realities of our material dimension. It's called by a bunch of different names, but the most common one you're going to hear is the warp. This dimension is where all of the magic and psychic powers we're going to be hearing about in these stories come from. So keep that in mind. Or don't, and do what you want. I don't control you. Now, the Old Ones built warp gates all over the place, allowing them to hop from world to world to world, easy as, and so they started spreading their seed, as it were, all over the galaxy. I have questions about their colonial attitude as they went around changing everything to suit them, but I'm a white human, so I can't really talk, I guess. Among these intelligent species the Old Ones had a hand in were the Elder, the Croc, maybe even the lizard men of the old school Warhammer fantasy game. Man, that game and them factions was sweet! So we have giant energy vampires, we have sentient, psychic-powered reptilian colonists, and now elsewhere and elsewhen, I'd like to introduce you to the Necrontyr. A morbid race with morbid lives. Their sun was nasty as nasty gets, spitting out killer radiation constantly. They, as individuals of a species, didn't live very long, and while they did, they were ridden with like radiation poisoning and sun cancers up the wazoo. Their architecture was entirely mausoleum themed. Death was the defining feature of their culture. So, understandably, the Necrontyr invented and invented until they could do that space travel thing and try to find somewhere not terrible to live. They didn't have warp travel to allow them to move across vast distances quickly like the Old Ones did, but what they did have was necrodermis, a living metal which would help to enable them to survive the incredibly long journeys in stasis. Without being constantly burnt up by their sun, they started to do alright for themselves as a species, and took over a good portion of the galaxy while they were at it. And that's when they ran into the Old Ones. And the Old Ones, see, with their magic psychic science, had cracked the nut of immortality eons ago. But they refused to share it with the Necrontyr, who were still living their short, star-burnt lives. It was a very rude awakening, to say the least, so war happened. Declaring war with the Old Ones also served as a convenient way for the Triarch, who ruled the Necrontyr Empire, to bring back unity and stop infighting between different scattered groups of their own race. So that's a thing as well, just an FYI. But you and I and the Triarch all know that this is a war that the Necrontyr simply cannot win. until during the reign of silent King During the reign of silent King Xeric, head of the Triarch, and ominously the very last of the Silent Kings, the Necrontyr discovered for the first time a massive energy creature feeding on the power of a dying star, older than even the old ones, old as the stars themselves. It was the Necrontyr who first named them the Star Gods, or Catan in their own tongue, and with the power of the... Now with the Catan, the Necrontyr, and the Old Ones all lined up in our cosmic chess match, the war in heaven is really ready to begin. I'll leave with that cliffhanger for the time being. For my newbies, I hope this helped alleviate any confusion. For those in the know, please do help alleviate mine. I have questions I'd really appreciate answers to in the comments section below. First, how do you actually pronounce Catan? And second, do you have a better, simple explanation of the warp? Because I feel like every time I read about it, the information just sneaks quietly out the back door of my brain immediately afterwards. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Like, share, and subscribe, because more of these videos will be on their way approximately every 2 weeks. My name is Dale Kingsmill. You can find me retelling stories from mythology on my own channel, Monarch's Factory, among other things. But for now, that's it. I'm done, and I will see you some other time.